Bonsoir YouTube, it's Gabby here from CUNY Queens College, and we're back here again with another vlog style literature review. Today we're talking immigration. So I'm developing a project that kind of looks at how literature defines experiences of violence, injustice, and exploitation by recounting it. And throughout this class that I've been taking, we've been talking about literature through that lens. By immersing ourselves in this conversation, I'm allowing myself to kind of use these approaches to literature defining violence and so forth to create three frameworks that I'm going to be focusing on for this project as a whole. And the three frameworks are placelessness, the American body politic, and America as an ethnographic study. And so now I'm briefly drawing from scholarship that grounds literature as a defining element in the migrant experience and pushes the boundaries in which my frameworks are focusing on and participating in. So Meg Wesling from the University of California, San Diego, does this really well in her article, Colonial Education and the Politics of Knowledge in Carlos Bulson's America is the Heart. And that's just a key text when we're talking about immigration and migrant experiences in America. So she focuses particularly on a quote or a speech given by Macario in the text, America is the Heart. And Macario is Carlos's brother, and he's kind of reflecting on what it means to be a migrant in America. And so I'm going to read for you the quote right now. Macario echoes the title of the text, offering that America is in the hearts of men that died for freedom. It is also in the eyes of men that are building a new world. Macario thus gestures faithfully to the idealist narrative of inclusive democracy and insists that they must live in America where there is freedom for all, regardless of color, station, and beliefs. And that comes from page 56 of her article. And so I'm drawing on this quote, kind of thinking about the ways in which she addresses this idea of inclusive democracy and regardless of color. So her analysis engages with the notion that America is an achieved feeling. We can earn this by participating in a sense of inclusivity. And so in this project that I'm working on, Antonio Vargas in Dear America notes of an undocumented citizen. He does the same type of work. He acknowledges that Americanness is something that we can earn. So not only participating in the American body politic, where we're participating in the idea of collectivity, including ourselves into what it means to be an American, but also psychologically, how we can train our minds to reject what was formerly known as our nation or our home and embrace what is new. And so I draw on much later Brenda Mehta's Diasporic Trauma, Memory, and Migration in Edwidge Danticat's The Dewbreaker. And she, in her text, Mehta tells us that, or she offers rather, that there is a psychological element to the American body politic, which I use. And she writes, memories of a home in the new location reveal the immigrants' exilic dispositions that facilitate between the love-hate dualities of nostalgia and assimilation, adaptation and alienation, and hope and despair as primal response to home and the adopted environment. In other words, she's saying that it's not just about the body when we're talking about the migrant experience. It's not just about participating in the collective unit of physically being an American, but also psychologically negotiating between how we feel about our homes, our home nations, and how we can embrace America as a new home. And so Carlos Bulson's title, America's in the Heart, is telling us that. Through his title, he's doing that work by saying, this is our home. And Mehta is suggesting that she's suggesting through the Dewbreaker that not necessarily, we have to negotiate that. And that in itself is a process that immigrants have to deal with, have to confront. So both perspectives of scholarship that I'm drawing on today, whether it's Wesling's article and Mehta's article, is that America has something to do with participating physically in a space that is no longer ours or has never been ours. And we as immigrants, and I'm immersing myself into that conversation as the child of an immigrant, have to learn how to participate in in that space physically, but also psychologically. There are psychological rules to being a migrant or a second generation migrant at that, where we have to ask ourselves, is America in our hearts? Is this our home? Or are we connecting ourselves to the homes of our parents or the homes of ourselves that we have to migrate away from or leave, for whatever case that may be? So both scholars offer us these perspectives of negotiating between different spaces, whether that means physical space of existing in America and navigating this land, or psychological space, making sense of where our minds are situated in the American context. Are we adopting the white gaze or are we rejecting it? And that in itself says a lot. And so literature defines the immigrant experience, and we can use literature as a tool for exploring the deepened challenges migrants face on a somatic, meaning the body, but also a psychological, the mind. Those two levels really help us understand how literature can deepen that breadth of knowledge. And so when we introduce the mind into transnational movement and immigration, we are extending the conversation beyond just saying America's in the heart because I'm here. America's in the heart because I'm here and I'm participating in a construction of knowledge that tells me that my home, my previous home, is no longer my home and that this is my new home. Thank you for watching and joining me today as we break down what it means to be an American through the immigrant lens, and also putting literature in that conversation of defining rather than just recounting immigrant experiences.